I'm watching the game here too while I'm doing this shit.
The hockey game?
Pat Beverly. Motherfucker.
No.
Oh, here you go. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Half of the fucking Jazz game.
Take 3 Wrestling Podcast here, coming to you June 10th, 2021. I'm your host, Ernest Christian, alongside Mike Benier, Joe Lopez. Fellas, we got Inner House coming up. What's up?
You're not coming to my house. Wait, did you just invite yourself over?
Yeah.
Look who's in our house.
Hey, guys, how we doing tonight? How's everything?
In the hizzle.
In the hizzle for shizzle.
Is that still a thing? No, I know.
I invited him over like Teddy Long invited you to a tag team match or a match against the Undertaker on SmackDown. Either way.
Mike, what's for all the YouTube followers here? What's today's drink of choice?
Today is a Elena Energy Hawaiian shaved ice.
Ooh,
Pick it up at your local Target. It's fantastic.
By the way, you got our good friend here, Craig Horn, on the show here too. Also, Craig, what's up? Burn the shirt, motherfucker. Yankees suck.
Come on.
Suck. Hey, Mets. Hey, guess what? Mets first place. How about that? For now. For now.
Let's see who's in first place at the end of the season.
Exactly.
We have a discussion all the time. You're nothing more than a little redheaded stepchild who lives and was adopted by a great black family, and that is what the New York Mets are. Just the adopted redheaded stepchild. You're there. You're noticed. Ooh, look, you got a pitcher. Yay. Oh, hey, you got a first baseman. Great. You're going to lose the division to the Braves. Good luck, buddy.
Probably. Guilty as charged. I'm not going to lie to you. Guilty as charged.
But will they lose?
Still on the Braves?
Yes. Larry is still on the Braves.
Yes.
How chipper of you, no?
Yeah.
I heard
anyway,
out of retirement to face DeGrom in Game 1.
Yeah, he's going to just come back to paint corners.
That's it.
And then him.
He doesn't even paint the full house, just the corners.
You know, as mad as I want to get it correct for saying what he said, though, there's a lot of facts in there. The history speaks for itself.
Yeah. You know. Don't get me wrong.
I can't see you, and it makes me feel like you're putting Logan to bed. It's weird.
You can't see.
The thing is, I'm doing something in honor of Craig.
Oh, I didn't think Craig was down like that, but okay.
No. Playing my best Nicolas Cage and
oh wow,
face off. I'm half faced because the other half is gone. Like,
see, if that's gonna be the deal, then Craig has to like mouth all of the words that you say. At least it's got to look like he's the one speaking. Yes, exactly.
Anyway, we got a good show today, man. We're gonna preview in NXT's in your house this coming Sunday, right? This week.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yep. I know nothing about NXT. I'm going outside.
Go get high.
We're gonna talk about Britt Baker, the new AEW Women's Champion, and we're gonna actually fancy book her. Yeah, DMD. Gonna actually fancy book her her reign going forward, and of course, Joe has a actually great topic today. We're talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, and what if he did not return from that neck injury in August 1997, being thrown on his head by Owen Hart at SummerSlam?
Ooh.
What would have happened?
Lean.
So,
Sorry,
it's all right. Anyway, Mike, you start off preview time.
All right, so we are going to go to the land of the Capitol Wrestling Center in balls-ass hot Orlando, Florida for this one. In Your House Takeover, or Takeover in Your House, whatever you want to call it. If they don't bring the house back for this one like they did for the original NXT Takeover in Your House, I'm going to be very pissed off.
It's not in your house, don't do it. If you don't bring it back, it ain't in your house.
This is Takeover in Your House 2.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't say 2 on the...
In Your House, take 2, and action.
How can they not have that?
It just says In Your House Takeover 2021.
Oh, well, that's balls.
They did it at the same time last year. The same thing at the same time last year. June.
Yes, they did. I don't know. That was a very weird point to make. I feel like you thought it was a good point, though. So
No. I only mentioned it because I figured I wasn't sure they did it again other than that one time. Hence the number.
No, but still, it feels like it should be numbered because all the.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
This takeover will be the 35th in takeover history.
Oh,
Oh, really? Interesting.
obviously we're live at the Capitol Wrestling Center. Without any further ado, let's get into it. But actually, before we start, I want to plug this on the show because I made a specific group for the fans of Take 3 Wrestling, as you saw on Twitter, if you follow us there, at Take3 Wrestling. I made a pro wrestling scorecard faction where our friends and listeners of the show can go on there and pick the questions that they ask for each show. I'm actually going to try to bring it up real quick and do all the fun stuff. So what we're doing here is we're going to do our group, anyone that's in the group. We're going to pick all the upcoming AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor. They have all of them. Hold on, I got to log into it. So the best part here is that anyone that joins this group is going to be eligible. The person who scores the most points, you're going to get a free prize from Take 3 Wrestling. So get in there, get some cool stuff.
Corona.
You might get some shirts.
We're trying not to spoil it, but Ernest, in the mail in about a week and a half, and you might want to get it yourself. You might not want to let Laura catch this. Lauren, sorry. It is to make a mold of your wee-wee. And or as I've heard it referred to, wee because it's a big. Yeah. So it's a mold, and you're gonna make that, and whoever wins might just get them some Ernest.
Or duly noted.
Wrestling t-shirts. I don't.
Wait, but you know how he calls his thing? It's like earnestly speaking. I feel like your sex toy line should be earnestly spanking.
Oh, okay. Drummer.
Oh God. Okay, so I'll use the preview using the score sheet so that you guys can kind of get a drift of this. Ernest hasn't signed up yet because he's a fucking square. Get on it.
No, I'll get there.
So yeah.
Top 5.
All right. Opening content of the prediction based app: Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li with Boa and Mei Ying. I'm guessing. So if you're looking at the Pro Wrestling score sheet, you can pick the winner, how they win, number of near falls, and if the match is going to go over or under 14.5 minutes. So they do things like that for all of them. Like the winner take all match, it's like who's going to win, who's going to get pinned, how many aerial moves are there, stuff like that. And on this one, they have a specific one that we'll do at the end. But let's talk about the match: Mercedes Martinez, Xia Li. As someone who hasn't been as all in on NXT as I have in the past, I'm really trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing with Mercedes Martinez. Because it's like she was in the title feud, and then now she's feuding with like some like broken dead like Ninja Warrior.
It's Mortal Kombat. They're doing a Mortal Kombat gimmick, but like they need to bring in Glacier. I'm just putting that out there.
They're doing a really bad Mortal Kombat gimmick right after the really bad Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what? To be fair, the Mortal Kombat movie was an HBO Max film, and maybe they're just trying to keep they're keeping their potential. Like, hey, look, we have marketing potential for you if you want to buy our company.
You want to buy us now?
You want to buy us now? Look, we got that Mortal Kombat. We got that Morty. Come on.
Morty. I'm surprised, Mike, though. You haven't watched much NXT. Like, you haven't been all in. What's going
on? I work Wednesday nights. Jackson's got therapy Thursday. We record Thursday nights. I've been going into work every Friday for the last month, so.
Also, basically life.
My downtime has consisted of watching New Japan when I can, and literally watching the hockey and basketball playoffs and the College World Series for softball and baseball. I mean, it's been a sports-driven month for me. This has always, though, been my time where I'm really almost like this is my disconnect. Like, I don't necessarily make the time to watch all the shows. I'll read the results. I'll keep up to date with stuff like that. But I always tend to, right after WrestleMania, when the College World Series comes into town and the playoffs start and all that, it's kind of my time where I little disconnect and recharge the batteries because it's been
I'm the same way.
Half to 5 month run of just like slamming my head into a wall repeatedly because you that like Survivor Series to Mania run, and it's just like
Especially those years when we went to WrestleMania and we would try to catch like 10 indie shows over the weekend, or like
Yeah.
you would leave WrestleMania having gone to like 5 or 6 different wrestling shows, including WrestleMania. You're exhausted after that. You're good on like, because let's be honest here too. I love pro wrestling. There's only so many different ways you can have a pro wrestling match. At a certain point, they all start to look the same, and that's the point when you need to like take 5 minutes, take a
Well,
break.
not only that, but also wrestling, it doesn't stop at all.
Yeah, right.
Like,
It's not
even with
football.
like
It's not
TV shows.
hockey.
Yeah,
Right.
even with sitcoms, you get 3 months, 4 months away from the show. Not wrestling, it's continuing.
Right.
It continues, and
It's almost like, and Joe can attest to this. The last real solo WrestleMania that we did was probably what, San Francisco before this year.
that's 31, right?
Yeah.
So the last real solo mission that me and Joe did was that one.
Yeah.
And literally, Joe was plane got canceled. He landed. I picked him up from the airport. He threw his bag in the back of the rental car.
Yeah.
We did that show, went back, got food. The next day we woke up, we did a show in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the one like a midday show, and then we did the NXT house show on Friday night, and then Saturday night we did fucking four WWN live shows. So in that case, we did 9 shows before we walked into WrestleMania.
It can be overkill. It really can be. It's like I love that all the, and this is, we're going way off topic, but we'll steer back and try to say this. I love that all the indie companies get out there for WrestleMania weekend. I love that they get big paydays. They make a lot of money. They usually have really sold out crowds, bigger than they're used to sometimes. I love all of that. But as a fan, like, it can be hard because you're tempted to try to see as much as you can, and then you can genuinely be burned out to the point where you're good on wrestling for a few months.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm set. It's like, you know how it's really good that football is only on Sundays?
Yeah.
Because you watch, like, it's the reason why you can sit there and watch 3 games on a Sunday and not feel burnt out, because then, like, maybe you watch the Monday night game, maybe you watch the Thursday night
Well,
game.
that's why I hate the Thursday night game. I like having Sunday and Monday.
And that's why that's not one of usually the higher rated games and stuff. Sundays are for football, and you have an entire week to recharge to the point where you're kind of like, wow, I kind of can't wait to see some more football. And you're ready to sit there and watch 3 more games. So, like, yeah, wrestling, you can get burnt out very easily.
Right.
And I'm like, honestly, I haven't really watched any NXT, and I thought about watching this week's today in preparation for the show tonight, but then I really wanted to see what happens with Serena on Gossip Girl, so that's what happened. I'm a little bit more invested in Serena and Blair and Dan than I am Xia Li and fucking Mercedes Martinez.
Real quick, before we get to the matches, one thing I've noticed being back 2 years now, this month is 2 years since I've been watching again.
I love that for you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Is I know there are 2 times a year why I feel like I disconnect, quote unquote. I'm still watching, but not like you're saying, like I take a couple weeks off.
Yeah.
Around this time, of course, around not so much June, but maybe more so May, NBA playoffs going on, whatever, all that. And then around Survivor Series, around November, December area, I kind of get check out a little bit.
For me, it's usually around football season, like around when September starts, and this year it might be different because honestly, one of the big reasons why it would be football season for me would be because I would be tuning into the Monday Night Football games. So all of a sudden, my Raw that I'd watch every Monday, I wasn't watching. However, I'm already not watching Raw. I haven't watched Raw in about 2 months. I don't know. I don't actually foresee when I want to start watching Raw again. Right. So I don't know that it's going to be any different this year just because football season.
I'll say Rumble season is when I get really fucking amped up.
Well, Rumble's amazing, honestly. Yeah. Rumble's one of the best.
You know what else is amazing, Joe? You know what else is amazing also? Rumble 2020. Well, yeah.
Rumble
2020.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Look at Michael's eyes. Look at Michael's eyes.
I'll say this about this year's WrestleMania. Like, this year's was a good, like, we went to 2 wrestling shows. Right. Like, we got to do other stuff in Tampa. We drove over to fucking the Blue Jays.
I do.
complex trying to go to a baseball game. They got rained out and, stuff like that. But even just driving around Tampa and going to a mall and seeing how, things are there. It's like, that was the good thing. Like when we went to Dallas, like we did NXT, we did WrestleMania. I don't think we did another wrestling show, did we?
No, okay. I don't remember Dallas for sure, but I know that at a certain point, and I think it might have been like just after the first New Orleans one, to be honest. Or it might have even, I don't remember for sure, but at a certain point, a certain year, we said and we decided we're not going to any other shows other than WrestleMania and NXT if we were there for the night before.
I think that was Dallas.
It might have been because we were just like, wow, the last couple of years that we did this burnout, let's try doing it this other way. And then there was one year where we did go to a whole bunch again.
That was Orlando. We did.
Okay. When we went to Progress and stuff.
All of those.
Okay.
And we got burned out going into that WrestleMania because I was Roman versus Taker. And by the end of that show, me and you both looked at each other and we were like, I feel like I just ran a marathon.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's nice to not do that. Like, again, I almost feel bad saying it because I don't want to stop people from spending money that these indie companies need on buying tickets and stuff like that. But at the same time, if someone was asking me for advice on going to WrestleMania weekend, part of my advice would be don't go to every show. Don't burn yourself out. Like, just don't do it. It's too much.
Just be honest, brother.
The good thing about the Dallas trip was we went to that preseason baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
Then one night we went to downtown Dallas and just walked around. We went to opening day instead of going to Monday Night Raw the night after. We made...
There's a reason
I wish
why
I made that trip, man. That trip was sound like fun.
There's a reason why my favorite WrestleManias, like trip-wise, have been like New Orleans. Is places where there's a lot more to do other than just going to wrestling shows. That's it. Like New York City ones, Miami, New Orleans, like Dallas. Honestly, there wasn't a lot to do in Dallas. And that was kind of annoying. San Francisco. I loved San Francisco. I think San Francisco is one of the coolest places.
Well, I mean, we could go there about the whole San Francisco thing. Dallas. Are you fucking kidding me? Dude, we had a blast.
We didn't, but I'm just saying there's not a lot to do there.
What are you talking about?
The guys that won the trip that didn't go to Mania have stories for days.
Hold on. You do have to understand, though. Me and Webster had to drive like 35 minutes to get us alcohol because they don't serve alcohol.
Right. I heard about that. Yeah.
Webster's a fucking alcoholic who needed to wake up with a Coors Light IV. Okay? I'm sorry. I did not need to drink the whole time. I did. I had fun. We drank. Did we smoke? No, I don't think.
Of course you smoked, Craig. Your name was Craig.
Weed in Texas. I probably had a vape.
A vape? Really?
Not a douche flute. No, a fucking weed vape.
I know.
Cool kind.
I know.
I
will say this about Dallas. The best part was giving the homeless guy all of our fucking extra shit.
And he doesn't.
And Jagro wanted to buy his bike. He's like, "Is that a Schwinn?"
I heard about this one too. Yeah.
Dude, we give a homeless guy like all the alcohol we didn't drink because we bought way too much.
Can't bring it on the plane.
Find the only homeless guy in the state of Texas who doesn't drink alcohol.
Imagine that, right?
Like, what the hell? Me. Like, I don't drink. I'm like,
here, have some pecan rolls and some.
Like, here's food and whatever. We just gave the guy everything.
We gave him a fucking trash bag full of change.
Yeah. Yeah. Like.
All right. This was 2016, I think, right? 2016, 2017.
Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li.
Okay.
I predicted Mercedes on the score sheet, but I might change my mind if I go watch the NXT show before.
I'll go Xia Li because she's cute.
I said Mercedes because I don't know.
I mean I had nothing to go based on. I haven't really even
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I haven't seen the feud or anything. I'm assuming Mercedes is the face, and it feels like the face probably wins this match. So
I'll go Xia just because it's different. Whatever.
We'll stay in the women's division. We'll go to the NXT women's title match. It is the champion Raquel Gonzalez with Dakota Kai taking on the challenger Ember Moon with Shotzi Blackheart. I don't see how Raquel loses this match.
No.
We're just start the push to the moon here. I could honestly see this being the end of the road for Ember and Shotzi in NXT because they don't have a lot of tag teams in the women's division anymore. Really feel like this would be a perfect chance to get the two of them up on the main roster.
So basically, Ember returns to the main roster, and Shotzi will finally get her shot.
I mean, they don't have a lot of anything women's wise on the main roster, so yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by that.
And Shotzi's over right now; she's really over.
Oh
so,
yeah, they're big supporters of hers. I mean, she's got a cool look and everything, you know.
So it's definitely going to be the champ retaining here.
Yeah. You in agreement, Joe? All right, that was an easy one. Let's
no way, it's not.
Right.
Fun. For the newly returned $1 Million Championship, it is a ladder match between Cameron Grimes to the Moon.
Yeah.
L.A. Knight.
See that vignette from Tuesday?
I did. I saw it on Twitter. I didn't.
It's really cool. We need wrestling promotions. We need more vignettes. The more, the merrier. Just saying, it's great for wrestling.
Unless you're Eva Marie.
Okay.
So I feel like for story purposes, Cameron Grimes makes more sense losing in this match. Like I just feel like that's what just makes more sense for the story that they're telling for both of the characters and all of that. So logically speaking, I'm going to go ahead and pick not Cameron Grimes.
Eli Drake.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I'm taking Eli Drake as well, or LA Knight, or whatever you want to call him this week. I personally think that this guy should probably become one of the more overacts in NXT, especially if we may be getting some call-ups of some other people to revamp the lineup of the main shows now that we've let go of some talent and we got to replenish that roster real quick.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take LA Knight here. I just hope that coming out of this, that the $1 Million Championship gets defended.
Yes.
I want him to be let's defend the title. Basically, exactly the opposite of what AEW is doing with Brian Cage and the FTW World Title.
Right.
Yeah. No, I feel like with Cameron Grimes, he can lose his match. It's not going to hurt him, honestly. It does feel like if you follow the internet, the LA Knight is I feel like it's getting pushed. Like this is going to be to the moon kind of thing going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And this is a good little place to put him right now where it's like you're not strapping the North American title on him. You're not putting him directly into the world title scene. You're giving him a nice little build, and it makes sense. I like it.
Yeah, give me LA Knight also.
LA Knight or Eli Drake.
A Knight. All right, winner take all. The North American champion Bronson Reed and the World Tag Team Champions of MSK, Carter and Nash. They take on Legado del Fantasma of Santos Escobar, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilde. Winners walking out with all the gold. This one I think could have a very fun pace, but I don't see how you just put the title on Bronson Reed and you're moving on from Bronson Reed, unless they're not sold on Bronson Reed or they really love what they got out of Santos Escobar when he was the Cruiserweight champion. Both of those are viable options, but I'm taking the champions to retain here. I just don't know that you're ready to rip the belts away from Reed and MSK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, I misunderstood the stipulation of this match. I read it wrong. I thought that the winners of the match had to take Triple H out for dinner. I thought it was a winner-take-Paul match. I got that wrong. So now, knowing that it's a winner-take-all match, I'm going to reassess. I agree. I don't see the new champion and the tag champions, who also still pretty new in their reign, losing their belts right now.
Yeah.
And not in this setting. It feels kind of like a cheap way to do it. If anything, I could see Bronson Reed getting the pinfall over maybe one of the lower Legamos, whatever,
Wild.
Yeah, fucking DJ Z or whoever. I could see that being the thing. But I could also see the heels winning this. To be fair, I would not be shocked. They obviously have a lot of faith in Santos Escobar. I feel like they think that he's going to be everything that they wanted Andrade to be, and he never worked out to be. And even to a certain degree that they wanted like Alberto Del Rio to be back in the day, and he never worked out to be. Because something that Escobar has going for him, besides having the look and the talent, is he can cut a promo.
Mm-hmm.
He can speak. He doesn't have any of the language barriers. Right. Like he doesn't have, I feel like that's what you always ran into. I mean, okay, Alberto Del Rio, you ran into a whole bunch of other different problems. But when it came to Andrade, who's amazing in the ring and fantastic, he needed a mouthpiece. And I don't know why, but it feels like WWE, unless you're Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, WWE is not actually willing to go all the way on a push with someone who needs a mouthpiece. So it was only ever going to go so far for Andrade. I think they're looking at Escobar as possibly being the guy that they can actually do it with. And then granted, once he gets called up,
he be the takes over the Rey Mysterio spot?
Yeah, I think that's who they're looking at right now. And now, granted, when he finally gets called up to the main roster, that could all go to shit because, depending on which way the wind is blowing and, whether or not Vince did his comb over that day in the left direction or the right direction, you might not get what you thought you were going to get. So all I can say is for right now, I feel like they are building him. And I feel like I just talked myself into picking the heels. I'm going to have to go back and change it on that thing. But I'm gonna pick El Fantasmo, Legalo, whatever.
Legado del Fantasma?
Yes.
Do you think they do that because they only want to do kind of like almost like a cost-cutting thing in a sense? Like they'll only attach a mouthpiece to a wrestler that's actually worth it. Because that's something they've done for years. Back in the 80s, that's nearly half the roster back then couldn't speak for shit. So you attach a Slick, you attach a Jimmy Hart, you attach a Bobby, and then it works.
Heyman's shtick is one way. You need a guy like Heenan was.
Right, but my thing is though, managers. That's not a thing in WWE. It's not really a thing. It's just maybe what?
On behalf of every guy.
Right.
Here's the thing.
Insane.
I don't think
it's a requirement almost now.
I don't think WWE wants to do managers because everybody in AEW has managers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work.
No.
Yeah. I miss managers. Zelina was great, obviously, before she got cut. Obviously Heyman's in.
Hold on. Zelina was great. What'd she bring to the table?
This is a fair question.
She brought beauty. She's a good mouthpiece. She brought beauty.
But it's not like she was out there cutting Paul Heyman level promos.
But again, Paul Heyman is 1A, 1B greatest manager of all time. That's a high benchmark. To him,
but when there's no other managers in the company, why are you worth having there if you're not performing at the level of 1A, 1B, best of all time?
Scarlett's just as meaningful for Karrion Kross. At least she has an integral part of his promos.
Like I said, my point is it has to make sense for him to want to attach a manager to a wrestler. In other words, and in the case of Karrion Kross, it makes sense.
They put fucking Paul Heyman with Curtis Axel for 8 months, and what did that fucking accomplish? Not a goddamn thing.
I didn't watch. I didn't watch that, so I can't speak on that.
Yeah, see, it was your fault.
Yeah, thanks, appreciate it. That's a chance to gain.
Speaking of Karrion Kross, let's get there. The main event of the evening. It is a 5-way match for the.
Did we do all the other matches already?
Yeah.
That's it?
So this is going to be an early show, huh?
7-inning game.
5-way match for the title. It is the champion Karrion Kross with Scarlett defending against Adam Cole.
Baby.
Kyle O'Reilly.
Auto Parts.
Johnny Gargano with Joe's future ex-husband Austin Theory.
Hell yeah. We're gonna try to have many cute babies.
Oh my god!
Keep trying, buddy. And last but certainly not least, this is Craig looks at you with a very confused face right now.
Yeah, get him on camera, please.
I gotta.
There's gonna be some pretty shitty babies. I mean,
shitty.
I said try. Then we're gonna attempt.
A for effort. Just saying.
Yes.
And last but not least,
all right, it works. Whatever works for you, buddy.
Let me know how it works out.
Is none other than the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne with Oney Lorcan. In my predictions, I've selected that there will be a new champion.
Really?
I did.
What?
That one shocked me.
I think this is the Cross is coming up. Get the belt off of him without him actually taking the fall.
Oh.
I have the new champion of NXT being Kyle O'Reilly after he defeats Adam Cole to win the NXT championship.
I would not be mad at that at all. I mean, look, the man's a former ROH World Heavyweight Champion. He certainly has I think he beat Adam Cole for that belt, as a matter of fact.
I think so too.
Literally, they even had a match at like Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome over the title at one point. So like, he's got the lineage, he's got the ability. I buy it. I'm actually really excited because I didn't think we'd ever get singles superstar Kyle O'Reilly in NXT.
Kyle?
Yeah, I kind of thought we'd be stuck with Red Dragon, which, not that that's the worst faith in the world, because obviously they were an amazing tag team, but I kind of thought that was going to end up being Kyle's ceiling, and eventually they'd get called up to like SmackDown and, end up in a really stupid feud with Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler or the Mysteriosos or something. Like, something lame.
Mysteriosos. What's wrong with you, Joe?
Honestly, this has worked out a lot better for Kyle, in my opinion. The fact that he's actually getting a singles run here. I would be so excited if that happens. I almost want to change my pick just to will it into being.
Is it better wait till the next takeover to do this?
Why? Why would you wait?
I'm just asking questions. That's all. So that's the question.
Okay, wait. No, stop. Okay. Your question came from a place of having that thought. So why did you have that thought? What made you think,
that's why. A 5-way. Would it be more value to do it in a singles regular head-to-head matchup with somebody?
First of all, wait. We need to establish something. Hold on.
Go ahead, Joe.
We need to establish something. Do you hate 5-way matches? We need to mark this down. That way, next week when we talk about the show and you talk about how it's the best 5-way you've seen in a while, and you usually hate 5-way matches.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a 5-way match before. Honestly, I don't think I've seen one. A 5-way, a 4-way, definitely.
There's definitely
FIF, Michael. FIF.
There's been plenty in WWE. There's been, you haven't even seen Farm Girls do Alien 37?
No.
There's a lot on Pornhub.
He's been sitting over here for a solid,
I know.
Just waiting.
How long did you hold on to that joke, Craig?
that one's been Hebrewing.
Yeah. No, seriously. No. I wouldn't be mad. I think Kyle O'Reilly's solo run is incredible. My question is this, though, more than anything else. What are the odds of Karrion Kross actually getting called up?
I mean, considering all of the openings they have in the roster, I think actually that makes a lot of sense. And it's not unprecedented. I mean, Keith Lee won the belt.
I was just going to say that. Keith Lee got
called up too. So
I was going to say that. Keith Lee held the title for 2 months, and he was gone.
Not even, I feel like. I think it was less time.
Yeah.
So my only question here with the Cross, and now that Ernest has brought this to the forefront, if it's not right now, the next takeover would probably be SummerSlam weekend in Vegas.
Right. Because I feel like Kyle O'Reilly is just a platform.
It can't be because fucking Friday night is SmackDown, Saturday night is SummerSlam, so you can't have a takeover.
Yeah, no, I was about to say that. I literally was thinking about that math. It's like they can do takeover on Wednesday like they did for WrestleMania, or do 2 nights again. But that's not. They're probably not going to do it in front of a big live crowd or anything like that. Because you're probably not getting an audience to 2 nights of takeover at certainly not at a big arena.
And SummerSlam and the Manny Pacquiao fight.
Right, exactly. I don't see it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I don't like. Because if you just have a random Capitol Wrestling Center takeover, I don't know that it has any less value of building up it as it in your house.
Fair point.
I think this is the safest route to go because you could honestly go any of the other 4 could win.
Yeah.
Gargano could steal a win and going back to being, the champion. Pete could finally get his run with the NXT title after having his lengthy run with the UK title. You could go to the ace in the hole of Adam Cole and put it back on him, or you could give Kyle the chance and take the shot and see what happens with him, knowing that you have built-in feuds of Adam and Pete right off rip, plus other guys that are in there.
Shit.
I'm gonna say this. I predicted on that website thing that Karrion Kross was gonna win, but I hadn't really I felt like it was weird that this was a 5-way. And the point that you kind of just brought up about how it's a safe place to get the belt off of him without actually having him ever lose a match, which they already lucked into the first time. Not lucked, I mean, you don't want someone to get injured, but he got injured, so he's never lost the belt. He's literally undefeated in NXT. So if you want to keep that going and then get him onto the main roster and get the belt onto someone else here, it does make a lot of sense. This is the perfect opportunity. So I want to will into existence Kyle O'Reilly winning, so I want to go with you on that. But right. I did technically pick Karrion Kross before.
I picked Kross also too. I want him to lose. Personally, whether it was Kyle O'Reilly or Adam Cole gets it, I don't care. I do think it's intriguing to know that maybe he does get called up. I don't know. There's a lot of holes on the right main roster.
Because it's not an elimination, right?
Say it again.
It's not an elimination. Okay.
Nope, it's a fatal 5-way.
It is a regular.
I think your argument makes a lot of sense. I think this is a great opportunity to get the belt off of him without actually having him lose.
Yeah. So it will add speculation if this happens.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know how much speculation there is, because if he loses the title on Sunday and shows up on Monday on Raw, then you know exactly why.
Right.
I don't think they're going to sit around and, pity-patter around bringing him up. If he drops the title, he's coming.
So let's do this quick. Do this quick. What are the odds of that actually happening? Like, before we know the result.
Wait. No, I got a better question. Okay. I have a better question. No offense, but...
Wait, what the fuck's my question, though?
Yeah, but it was bad. I got a better question.
Fuck you both, man.
Does Karrion Kross showing up on Raw make you want to tune into Raw?
Yes.
Only because of the presentation.
Okay.
No, it makes me want to show up because I want to see, is this a push to put him in a title feud, or is this him going to run through the lower mid card and then win the U.S. title and do it the smart way? Are we going to just kind of he was just the NXT champion and now he's fighting Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley for the world title? Or are we going to just let him run through whoever, win the U.S. title for a while and build him up slowly?
No push.
I'll tell you what.
Lower. Just don't, you don't have to fucking throw him right into the world title picture. But he could show up on the first night. Who's the U.S. champion right now?
Sheamus
open challenge. He beats him. Fucking new U.S. champions, Karrion Kross. And he just fucking holds the title for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm A-okay with that.
And it makes the U.S. title gives it some shine too. New face, new look, that kind of thing. And I'll tell you what. Going back to Joe. Wait, Joe. Go back to my question, motherfucker, that you stole. Okay.
I had a better question.
Okay. It's out the way now. You asked the question. You're good. 50% chance this happens, honestly.
Wow, you taking any more fucking
Is this a Hulk Hogan Randy Savage question?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because if this had been some regular head-to-head matchup, I would have said that. I would say, well, he'll continue the title reign for these couple months. A 5-way creates a lot of opportunities, a lot of shit. So,
yeah.
Could you take it even more just bogus percentage? Yeah, it's a 50% chance.
I mean, how many Money in the Bank? How many ladder matches? How many IC ladder matches where you've seen 6 guys in the ring at one time?
Car crash.
I mean, just think about it that way, minus the ladder.
70% chance this happens.
If 5 guys
let's go.
They're sitting in this room, I wouldn't know who they were. But you can make it work. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a lot of outside the ring stuff going on.
And if you're flushing your roster, all these cuts last couple months, naturally you're gonna bring up guys probably. So, especially you can go out on the road. So,
on the road again.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for preview.
Yeah. So
Damn.
the final thing on the score sheet, Joe seen it. Obviously, you haven't. Is
Wait. What dick thing to say? You have it,
obviously
but it's true though.
you
Carry
have
on.
you have to predict the match order.
Really? Was it like a prop bet thing going on here?
I mean, because there's only 5 matches. So the sixth thing, because they normally do one for every match. So the 6th thing is predict the match positions.
I feel like that's relatively easy because it's a small fucking card.
It's going to be absolutely ridiculously hard. What the fuck are you?
No.
You have a red men's match in there. You have a winner take all match. You have a ladder match. Obviously, everybody better get 5 points because obviously they're going to fucking put the 5-way in the last.
Women's title match first. Let's go.
Wow, really? I don't have that as the first match.
What do you have first match?
I have the winner take all tag match.
Really?
I don't know what I put.
Start the crowd with something hot. Give them fucking guys doing flips and all that fun stuff. And then I have the Mercedes versus Zaya match, and then I have the $1 million title ladder match, and then I have the women's match, and then the.
What match? Wait. What match are you guys each most looking forward to before we move on?
Actually, to be honest, the LA Knight fucking match against Cameron Grimes. I really am.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see the LA Knight push. I want to see how this goes.
I would say that I'm most interested in the winner take all tag match.
Really?
Yeah, I like Legado del Fantasma.
Me too.
And I really like MSK, and I'm starting to come around on Bronson Reed. I wasn't I didn't hate Bronson Reed, but he was kind of like a better version of Savio Vega. Like he's there.
See,
not going to be mad that he's there.
And for me, MSK falls into that same category where like I get them, but I feel like I could watch 5 teams that are exactly like them every week on AEW Dark. Like I don't like they don't stand out to me that much. Not to be Booker T about it, but they don't stand out to me that much. Like I don't feel like anything that I don't connect with them. I don't know. Maybe I didn't watch them in Impact. Maybe Trey Miguel was like the personality of the group.
Right.
I don't know.
The way you feel about Bronson Reed, Mike, is the same way I feel about Cameron Grimes for a long time. Now I'm a big fan. So.
I've been a big fan of Bronson Reed since he was on Perfect Strangers.
That's Bronson Pinchot.
Oh, damn it.
Balky, motherfucker. Come on.
So now that
Don't be ridiculous.
Preview, before we move on to the next topic, can I just mention the fact that I'm looking at PW Insider because the Impact Wrestling Against All Odds show is this weekend.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I cut you off for 2 seconds and say something else too? Pro Wrestling Guerrilla is back August 1st.
God damn you. That was going to be my 3rd MVP that I texted you about. I was going to break that.
What a jerk.
I only have 2 MVPs.
Ah, you poor thing.
2? Only 2? Not greedy, huh?
Oh, you're so out.
So, the Impact Wrestling World Title match between Kenny Omega and Moose is going to take place in Jacksonville, and the rest of the show is taking place wherever.
They're putting it in front of an AEW crowd.
WrestleMania 2?
But it's the Impact show, right?
Because I think that the AEW Dynamite show is Saturday this week.
It is Saturday. Not this week. Next week it is.
Oh, it's next week?
Either next week or the week after. 1 to 2. Can't remember exactly.
I thought it was this week, so I was like...
No. It's Friday tomorrow. But the one for Saturday is either next week or the week after.
Oh, then...
You think he's going to drop the Impact title here?
No. Because I don't think Moose has signed a long-term contract to stay with Impact.
Oh, okay.
If he was facing like Sami Callihan, I could be like, man, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get to the next topic. I guess this is mine. Speaking of AEW, Britt. What's that?
Great.
As you know, Britt Baker is the new AEW Women's Champion, and this is simple here, really. Whenever we get a new title holder, we tend to like the fantasy book what they should do. So that being said, Britt Baker, new champion. What's going on? Because I actually watched Dynamite from last week today, and any thoughts of her turn to babyface got crushed immediately.
Well, of course.
I know he saw that. She was
But
still
like
fucking
the whole reason her act is over is because of how she acts. Like why would you turn that? Like in order for her to become a babyface, you'd have to take away from her the things that people actually like.
Right. But yeah, she still is very much a heel. Very much. I mean, not even a tweener. It's just still a heel.
Yes.
It looks like right now that Nyla Rose might be the next in line based on what we saw at the celebration. But I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see what happens in weeks to come. But let's book this. Britt Baker, how long does she have the title for? Who should she face? Who's a rising talent that can, get over in this couple months or year or whatever it may be?
Mike, do you want to go first? You look like you want to go first.
No, I will, but I'm very pained by what I just read. So
What happened?
So in round 3 of the MLW Open Draft, they announced that they were bringing in Savio Vega.
Get the fuck out of here. Serious?
I mean, you want me to send you the fucking article?
I believe you. This is kind of like weird. Just mentioned 2 minutes ago.
I didn't realize he was still alive.
What was that, Joe?
I didn't realize he was still alive. I'm just being honest.
Oh,
Joe, you do know that what this means, right?
That he's going to be there?
In 3 months, we're going to get a Savio Vega versus Davey Richards feud for like...
Right.
I'm
here for it.
Who can kick the hardest? That's what the feud's going to be.
Yes.
What the fuck are we doing?
Savio's there no matter what, man.
I read that and I became instantly pained. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing?
I mean, could they just not track down Steve Blackman? Like, what the fuck? Like,
hold on. They got like 4 more rounds. We might get Steve before.
Is he still alive?
Why is there an MLW draft happening?
Because they're dumb. I don't know.
But who's drafting? There's one company.
This is what I never understood about the whole thing. They're drafting for their own new roster. I don't even know what the fuck is going on. It's the dumbest thing ever. Okay, back to
Brick, DMD.
Now that I've lost my mind.
DDS.
Yes.
All right. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I would... Obviously, she's going to be the champion for a long time. I don't think that I would rush to take the title off of her. I don't think I'd rush to move in any other direction other than Dr. Britt Baker. Obviously, she's the first challenger is going to be Nyla, which she'll beat on Dynamite. Leading into All Out, I could if there's still a working relationship between Impact and AEW at that time, which I don't know if that's actually going to be a thing. I could see it being maybe her versus Deonna Purrazzo, champion versus champion kind of thing, and then something fluky, double count out, double disqualification, whatever. But you get a good wrestling match between the two of them. They're friends. They could have a good wrestling match. I could see potentially a debuting Chelsea Green, maybe even like Alana being fed to Britt. Then it starts to get interesting because then where do you go from there? You have All Out coming, or I have All Out already booked. Then you have Revolution and Full Gear and all that. Is Thunder Rosa going to come back, or are we going to get the final soiree in that one? Are we going to get a third and decisive match there? Obviously, Tay Conti's still there. She's pretty good in ring. Anna Jay's going to come back from her shoulder injury. Join the Dark Order.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see Anna eventually get the title. Maybe not from Britt, obviously, because I think this title reign is going to be one that's going to at least get us through December. I don't think she's touching Sheeta's record. I don't think she holds it 367 days or whatever it is. I can see 180-ish unless she gets hurt or something crazy. I would eventually have her drop the belt either to Thunder Rosa if you can get her on an contract, or this is your opportunity to do something crazy and give it to someone like Big Swole. Swole.
Love Swole.
I know you do.
Big Swole is my favorite WNBA player. You be nice.
I mean, I live Pop Joe, so I mean, it's cool. No, I think that this. I think, like I said, I think this one's going to be one where Britt's going to hold it probably through the end of the year. I mean, I could see her dropping it at like Revolution in February, potentially to. I'm like, Tay Conti's the name that keeps coming back into my head. So does Thunder Rosa. Unless this is like, hey, we're going to build up a whole new women's division. Bring in like Allison Kay or something like that. Because I don't know who's out there right now, free agent wise, that you're rushing to bring in, unless it's Ruby.
I would love to see, and not necessarily have her win the title or anything, but like a couple of matches with Serena Deeb. I bet Brittany and Serena could have some amazing matches.
I agree. I can see that. I can see her having good matches even with Riho.
Yes.
I personally, the end point for me is January, and it's eventual title loss to the aforementioned Heidi Lovelace, aka Ruby Riott.
Where does like Jade Cargill fall in?
I was just going to ask you that. Is it any
I
roster?
I had to report back to the New York Sparks. I think they need to forward for the rest of the year. I don't know.
Fair.
She does nothing for me in ring. Like, she doesn't. And putting her with like this cheesy attorney dude, he's worse than fucking any manager WWE has right now. But again,
He's really good.
Previous argument, everybody in AEW has a manager.
Right.
I mean, literally at this point, if you can name me 5 wrestlers that don't have a valet, a coach, or a manager, I would be fucking utterly surprised.
Yeah.
So I'm of the mindset right now that I think I would have her drop it probably like January, February to Heidi and get through there, because I don't unless Britt turns face in the middle of this run, Jade Cargill will never be a face.
No, correct. I agree.
No, she's definitely a heel.
I mean, and Britt doesn't need to be a face for the next 4 months. She can be cheered. She can be cheered as a heel and call all of us stupid for
exactly.
I mean, it works for her character. All I'm saying is, in ring perspective, the name that I just keep coming back to is Heidi, because I think it makes the most sense.
Where do you stand on Red Velvet? She's better in ring than Jade is. That's for sure.
I disagree with that completely.
You think Jade's better than Red Velvet in ring?
Yes. Red Velvet's very boring to me. Jade at least stands out.
I mean, Red Velvet stood out too. She hit that dive and almost broke her face.
That dive was scary.
Stand out.
You didn't say it had to be good or bad, dude. I'm working with what you said.
All right. So wait, I've got the beginnings of storyline ideas.
Oh boy.
Okay. So I have an overall idea that's going to include Ruby Riott, but we're not there yet, because I figure she's probably got some sort of waiting period right now before she can get signed.
I think she's on the shelf until
September.
Probably like the first week of September.
Okay, cool. So before we get there, I obviously need Britt to do something storyline-wise. So I'm going to have her take the JBL 2005 gimmick, 2004, 2005 gimmick, and she's going to extract all of the Japanese female wrestlers from the AEW roster. She's going to make that her mission. And this gives her an excuse to get wins over Rio and another win over Shida. And we'll bring back in the fucking queen lady, whatever her name is, Freddie Mercury.
Emi Sakura.
Yes,
Freddie Mercury. She's been around a while. Well, this is a year.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, we'll get her back. And any other
Japanese portion of the women's tournament, you moron.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Who
was that Japanese woman that won that tournament that like had a really good match with Shida, even though it was hard to care about it?
Yuki Sakazawa, I think, or something.
Yes, exactly.
It's like a mentor.
Back, like all of them. We'll just have Britt Baker fucking beat the asses of all the Japanese women, because you know what? I bet Kenny Omega jerks off to that thought every night anyway. So let's just make it a reality.
I only co-sign this if at some point she grabs the microphone and she goes, "I am a wrestling god."
Yes. I think that's only fitting, to be perfectly honest. Okay. Then we get to a place where Ruby Riott can be brought in. And I think you bring Ruby in. Follow me here, okay? I swear to God, I'm not Vince Russo. You bring Ruby in, as Britt Baker's younger, like, punk sister, who, like, is always just standing behind her. And I'm not even so sure that Ruby Riot's not, in fact, older than Britt Baker, but we're going to run with her being younger. And she comes in as her younger sister, and it's like she basically follows Britt everywhere, and Britt thinks that, like, that Ruby thinks that Britt's so cool and everything, but meanwhile behind her back, Ruby's always like, and making fun of her and making silly faces and stuff, and then like getting her into situations like signing contracts for matches and stuff, or like walking up to Nyla Rose and being like, oh, you think you can beat my sister? My sister says she can beat your ass. My sister said go meet her in the ring right now. My sister said it's gonna be for the title. My sister said you gonna go down. Like, that's the whole Ruby Riott promo right there. And
Fucking Joe.
It's gonna be black when she goes to AEW.
Yes.
Okay, just asking.
Yes.
Just asking. Just trying to follow along with the story. Please.
Yes.
She gonna do hood rats with these friends.
So Ruby then eventually gets to a place where she challenges her sister for the title, and her sister thinks that it's going to be like Finger Poke of Doom style, like she's just going to lay down for her. So she lays down, and she goes in, and then she puts her into a small package, and she gets 1, 2, 3, and Ruby Riott's the new champion.
You guys are right, though.
It's probably about November.
Where do you get your...
What?
Maine.
All right, I'm gonna need you to send some of that shit down.
Real quick, you guys touch on that. It's very possible the person that ends up taking the title from Britt is on the roster currently, because I don't know. I honestly look at this roster right now. I don't know unless someone.
Hey, Marshall.
Say it again.
Are you thinking of QT Marshall?
No.
Dude, you really think Anthony Ogogo's going to win the women's title? That's amazing. I love that for him.
No, I'm with you guys.
Your AEW Women's Champion. A go Power Rangers.
Oh Lord, he's doing the song. No, I really believe it's very possible that the person that wins the title, as Mike said, like in January, February next year, is not on the roster right now currently. I don't know.
They were on the roster.
I thought so too.
I just don't know who you dust off.
Don't gaslight me. You said on the roster.
I made Rooster.
The Rooster?
You said it was on the Terry Taylor.
Oh, the Red Rooster.
I didn't know Tully Blanchard was eligible to win the women's title at 67.
Well, you know, true story, as you go into your 60s, your penis goes back inside of your body. So.
New women's Guerrero.
But only if she wins it. Only if she wins it with the Frog Splash from WrestleMania.
We've now turned Ernest's review of Britt Baker into a rolling joke.
Because honestly, it really is. We have this is something that we visit probably in September. Because I don't see anyone on this roster right now outside Sheena, and there's no way in hell you go back to that.
Do you like that they have her even going against Nyla? Because I kind of hate it.
I don't like it either. Because you know why? It's obvious what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's obvious that she was always going to win no matter who she faced first.
Right.
Right. Well, yes, and that's a good thing. But I'm just saying, like, I have zero desire to see her fight Nyla again.
Right. I think it's the person's not on the roster. I think by September, October, we may see a completely different roster in the women's division.
I think you're out of your mind.
You don't think Tony Khan is fucking ham?
Roster. Why would he turn it over?
I think it's a lack of talent in that roster more than anything else.
So wait, I have a question. Serena Deeb, is she an AEW talent or is she an NWA talent?
That's a good question.
Good Lord, that ball was crushed. Sorry, we were watching the home run in the Twins-Yankees game. Fucking Donaldson hit one to the fucking moon. What I'll say here is I don't think it's a lack of good wrestlers in the
Oh
women's.
wait, let me. Did you hear my question?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's what I figured, because you're the person who would know the answer.
Okay.
Or like you would do the research. Is Serena Deeb signed to AEW, or is she an NWA talent?
Well, now that she dropped the NWA Women's title on
Right.
Sunday to Camille, I think she's kind of like a rogue agent. She can kind of come and go as she wants, kind of thing. So I would expect to see her more in AEW now as not NWA title attached to her. Like, I don't think you're going to see Camille coming to.
No. Look, and in my opinion, in-ring talent-wise, Serena Deeb is probably one of the best female wrestlers on the planet right now. Granted, I don't watch a lot of Japanese female wrestling or anything, so maybe I'll speak more for North America from the stuff that I see with WWE and AEW and stuff. Serena Deeb, in-ring wise, I get Bret Hart vibes from her.
No, I'm with you on that one. I agree.
In a good way, like the good Bret Hart vibes. So like Bret Hart versus Hakushi vibes, like that level of Bret Hart vibes. So I want to see more of her, and that's why I was saying before, like interrupting Mike's thing, that she would be a great person maybe to get a couple of matches out of against Britt, where Britt doesn't need to lose the belt to her, but you might get some legit like match of the night matches out of them. You could get like a Dynamite main event out of it, or like maybe there's your Rampage like first show main event. Britt Baker's got that level of over with the company and the fans to, I think, be able to be considered for that role.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back, I think trying to remember my train of thought. I just watched Nelson Cruz hit one out too to walk off against the Yankees. So you stopped me. I was getting ready to talk about. Oh, I don't think the women's division is that lack of depth as Ernest says.
I agree.
I think there's a couple of really good females that are not being used properly.
Name them. Penelope
Ford.
Agreed.
The Bunny, even though she shouldn't be the Bunny, she should just be Allie.
She's really good that way.
Chris Statlander, she's back healthy. We should really be fucking using her more. Even to an extent, Swole. And just a fifth one off the top of my head that you could probably use for almost anything you could use them to put over talent is probably.
I mean, Anna Jay's not bad when she gets back from injury.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to include her because she's hurt, but I mean, right. They used Tay properly while Anna was hurt, so I can't use Tay in the who's being misused. But I mean, just the four that I ripped off without actually looking at their female roster, I think if you use them in a better ability, you could get things out of them. NXT having 2 female matches on a takeover show, like we should be getting to the point where you have another mid-card women's match in AEW, and the problem is it's been Sheeta, Britt, Rio, Nyla, and then your outside availability of Serena Deeb. Like, you're not pushing a couple of the women that are on your roster that could be beneficial pieces for you. And lo and behold, you're going back to touring. I mean, we just talked about WWE having to fill the roster. AEW is going to have to get more out of everyone because you can't patrol Kenny Omega, the Bucks, Moxley, and Kingston out there every Wednesday night for the next 35 weeks and not expect one of them to get hurt.
Right.
Cutting a promo one week and wrestling the next week is okay, but you're going to have to fill that wrestling time with something. So why not fill it with building up Chris Statlander, building up Penelope Ford, building up Allie, building up, Red Velvet, stuff like that. I mean, it even if you use Red Velvet to get over talent on Dark and then lose meaningful matches to Penelope and Allie and all of them to build them up, and Anna when she comes back, I mean, you still got to have the gatekeeper to get to the next step. I mean, if you use it wisely, you can fix. I'm not going to say fix, but you can use this women's division that you have without having to go out and bring in 75 free agents.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right.
I mean, obviously, I want Ruby there. I'd love to see Allison Kay there. I'd love to see Marty Bell there. I'd love to see Solo Darling there. I'd love them to actually sign Ashley Vox and Del Miexo, the Sea Stars. That's just 6 random indie names that I listed off that if you put them with the core that they've been using night in and night out, I mean, you could have probably one of the best women's divisions in wrestling. But they've got to put the work in, and they've really got to stop shoving the same 3 people down our throat continuously. It's like, I love Britt Baker, but I need a mid-card women's feud to actually have someone building up to fight.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's get to Joe's topic to close it out. Joe, what you got?
All right. So, once upon a time, I don't remember what episode or what, but we talked a little bit about the idea of like the what if Bret Hart never left WWF in 1997. And I think I might have been even the one to call it the biggest what if in wrestling history. But I was
The clip,
listening...
by the way, that clip is on the YouTube page. So.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think that's one of the reasons why it reminded me of this. I might have come across it. But I was also listening to one of JR's podcasts the other day, and I don't remember what they were talking about. It wasn't even really specifically about this thing, but it got me thinking about Steve Austin being injured. It might have even been something to wrestle. It was Conrad was on it. And I think they were talking about how when Austin got injured in 97, how the plan was still to keep him around as like an authority figure or something, like just something to keep the momentum going, which, as we know, like he never missed any TV time or anything. He was always there. Right. I think that this actually ended up posing in my head a bigger what if, a bigger what if than what if Bret Hart had never left, because I'll explain to you why I think it's a bigger what if. What if Steve Austin had never actually come back to wrestling after that neck injury in summer of 1997 when Owen Hart did the pile driver incorrectly, broke the man's neck? What if, because there was a moment in time, you've heard Bruce Pritchard talk about this on his podcast. You've definitely heard JR say this before, because whenever they talk about kind of the time and the frame and, Austin in general, there were questions of, is this guy going to even be able to come back to the ring? And what's crazy is, upon his return is when he really, really takes off. He comes back from that injury in August and goes on to win the Royal Rumble and goes on to win the title at WrestleMania from Shawn Michaels, goes on to have the feud with Mr. McMahon and that whole 9 yards. All of that happens after he comes back. What if Steve Austin never came back? What do you guys think would have been the overall repercussions on pro wrestling as a whole? I mean, WWF, obviously, but might have there been repercussions for WCW? Might they still be the company that's in business right now and not necessarily WWF? I mean, it's pretty well known that WWF was pretty much on the verge of bankruptcy at the time when they took a bet on putting Mike Tyson out there and Austin Tyson. Austin Tyson was a thing, and it got eyes and it got viewers. And Granted, could that have still been a thing even if Austin couldn't have come back to wrestling, since it's not like they ever had a wrestling match? Could you have still had those personalities clashing and just had them in separate corners at WrestleMania or something? So maybe that still wouldn't have been necessarily affected, and WWE would have still been able to make the money that they did. But at the end of the day, Steve Austin was a wrestler. Steve Austin was the world champion a couple of different times. Steve Austin was the main attraction. Nobody in pro wrestling is the main attraction without being in the ring as a wrestler. Nobody is that over. Paul Heyman is not the guy that sells tickets. Roman Reigns is. Brock Lesnar is. Paul Heyman's the guy in their corner. Nobody's buying the tickets to go see Paul Heyman. So would Steve Austin have actually had the effect that he did if he was never able to come back into the ring as a wrestler? I think I've explained it well enough. I would now like to hear from you guys.
It's funny because that same what if by Bret Hart is literally the same time. because I think we were told that Brett was asked to, to void that contract, or told to void a contract around that same month that the injury happened. Yeah, it's a different situation. That's a big. I agree with you. I still think WCW would have been in trouble. Maybe they still exist, but remember, they beat themselves. They ate themselves alive from the inside. Was that Vince beat them? That's not the case. But the first thing I go to is Bret Hart. It's because remember the Bret thing happened after the Austin injury. So if Austin says I can't go, I gotta retire, who does Vince lean on? It's always Bret. At that point, it was still Bret. So, but the thing is, The Rock wasn't The Rock yet. They only just turned him heel that month. You know? So that's a major crossroad. That, August 97, we talk about 97 being one of the most interesting and most biggest turning points in wrestling history for many reasons. You freeze frame August 97. I mean, and I'm glad you brought this up because that Austin injury could have, if that shit went sideways, we might not see WWE as it is today. Because it was Austin that propelled Austin. Say it again?
I still think we get there.
No, I think it will exist, but I think, remember,
a lot of people give Austin a lot of credit for the Attitude Era, but you also have to give a ton of credit to them letting Shawn and Hunter be Shawn and Hunter.
Yeah, but you also lose Shawn by March.
By April next year, March, April, right?
But think about it. In March of '98, if Austin doesn't exist, your roster doesn't have Austin. You don't have Brett. You don't have Shawn. I agree with what Ernest was saying before. Because The Rock wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? He was almost there.
I don't think we lose Shawn.
What? But I mean, he was injured.
He was injured in the match.
Shawn might have been dead by '98. The way he was going, he might have been dead.
His injury was in a match against Undertaker where he hit the casket.
Yeah, Rumble '98.
Yeah, that match doesn't exist because fucking Vince gives Brett what he wants, leans back on fucking Brett. Fucking Brett keeps the title in Montreal, and it leads to fucking the Hart Foundation being the mainstay, which means another thing doesn't happen. Owen doesn't fucking die.
That's a good point too. But again, Shawn Michaels may not make it.
Okay, if Shawn Michaels doesn't make it because Shawn Michaels makes poor life choices, that's one thing. I don't think we lose Shawn Michaels to injury because I don't think that match happens.
That makes sense. That's valid.
He blew his back out in a spot in a casket match. That doesn't happen if Austin doesn't come back.
I've always said that injury was a blessing in disguise for him, honestly.
I mean, look.
And I say that as someone that says that run is my favorite HBK run of all time. Right there, 97, 98.
I'll even say this. Even in the scenario where Brett still leaves, but Austin doesn't come back, I don't think you're having Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker as the title match at Royal Rumble. I think you're probably depending on that to be your title match at WrestleMania. Because those are your two biggest stars. Especially arguably, those were your two biggest stars at the point when Brett left, even with Austin around, because Austin was still on the come up. That's kind of the whole point of the question is we weren't in a world yet where Austin was this super established over character.
Right.
We were on the come up towards that. He comes back from the injury, and then it's to the moon, Alice.
And Vince, and then the Vince angle completes it.
Right, exactly.
It gives you an extra 2 years.
Exactly.
And to boot, you say Attitude Era is a little overrated. Here's why. When we did have Austin, that WWE roster in '98 until probably early '99 was pretty thin. You think about it. You think of it. You lose HBK in March, number one for injury. Okay, it's Austin, it's Mick Foley, it's Triple H. The Rock is still coming.
Right.
I mean, Triple H, he's not all the way live yet either.
Say it again.
Triple H isn't all the way live.
Exactly. Even more reason. So it's still Austin Vince literally carried that for a whole year, even '98. Once The Rock picked up in late '98, then you had more security in that point.
What I'll say is that we're not thinking about here. Boston goes down to injury. What's the one route that we haven't discussed yet?
Hogan coming back.
Vince going and getting somebody from WCW.
Savage and Hogan were possibly come back. That was been rumored for years.
I know that Hogan or Savage was the guy that should go get there.
But it was rumored, I'm saying. I'm not saying you had to get the guys. I'm saying that was rumored.
If Hogan or Savage had been the guy that came back,
it wouldn't have been anything.
Yeah, right. Like maybe the company does in fact like get out of the gutter financially and like still exist today and stuff. Which I'm just gonna say for the record, and not to go off too much, I'm amused at the idea that there is a like alternate reality somewhere where WWE in fact went out of business because Austin was injured and didn't come back, and you never had the Austin and Tyson thing. And then WCW still went out of business circa 2001 because Ted Turner, Time Warner, whatever their company name was still like, I'm done with the wrestling business. And then all of a sudden, pro wrestling as we know it is totally different today.
Yeah.
I don't even know that we're doing a podcast right now about pro wrestling because I don't know that anybody cares.
And it sounds silly to say Hogan and whatever, but Freeze from '97, he was arguably still the biggest name in pro wrestling at that point.
But
the other way.
If you're going for that, like the attitude type thing, and if you're going for the everyman, remember, Austin worked because he reminded people of themselves. He was the everyman. I go to work, I have a shitty day, I go home, I drink some beers, I complain about my boss. Except he got to complain about his boss to his boss's face, sometimes while kicking him in the gut and giving him a stunner. So that was what people enjoyed about Austin. Mm-hmm. If you were trying to replace Austin, which again, I don't know that you can actually full on replace Austin.
No, I don't.
The one guy I think you could have gotten from WCW, and I don't actually think you could have gotten him because of his allegiance to certain people in the company, would have probably been Diamond Dallas Page.
At that time, he was way over. Absolutely.
And not only was he way over, the Diamond Cutter was way over.
Yes.
And that's what he needed. Because half the excitement of Steve Austin was he's going to hit a motherfucker with a stunner. Who knows when? Who knows where? It's the reason why Randy Orton still has a successful career.
Oh, no,
Austin, in a lot of ways, you think about it, I'll say it again. Steve Austin literally saved Vince because, again, 1998 was not really impressive to the storylines for the WWE outside Austin and Vince. Like, you had a little bit of Rock and Triple H, good matches during SummerSlam, all that. But overall, the product wasn't really that exceptional at that time. It was literally the Austin Vince show for a whole year.
Still in a rebuilding phase.
Right.
What they had for themselves, what they got lucked out with having, was a top program that would bring the audience in and then give all the guys in the process of building, give them the chance to actually build in front of an audience, because the audience was there for the bigger overall show. And it's like, well, we're here, we might as well watch this Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown match.
It also allowed The Rock to develop. It allowed Triple H to develop. It allowed Mick Foley to become, a legend. So yeah, Austin and Vince gave that company a whole extra year, a buffer time to grow.
Yes, I agree.
By 99, they were.
I was waiting to say either that or you have to pee.
Nope, I got a light bulb.
Okay.
Talked about bringing somebody in that changed the game.
Is it Logan?
Yes, it is.
Someone that could, you go get DDP. A name that they could have brought in if Austin can't return. That has a very explosive finishing maneuver that the fans loved to see.
Yoshihashi?
Close.
Jushin Thunder Liger.
That's my second choice.
Of course.
Number
Barca.
Rob Van Dam.
Definitely would have helped. Well, certainly wouldn't be Austin level, but it would have helped.
In 98, he would have come over. He would have had the most over finishing maneuver in the fucking business.
Right.
His Star Frog Splash was fucking the most ridiculous thing to fucking watch. And if you could have Abu to lay off the drugs and brought them in together, it would have been a whole nother fucking level of fucking national attention to two really good wrestlers in ring. Pair them with the Eddie Guerreros and the Perry Saturns and the Dean Malenkos of the world, and have those matches that they were having at the ECW arena in '95 on a SummerSlam card. And you're talking about probably some of the best matches in wrestling. But long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
Brett doesn't leave. Brett retains the title at Survivor Series.
Yes.
Brett drops it.
Rumble Mania, whatever.
No, he probably drops it to Taker at Rumble.
Okay.
Wins the Rumble from the 30 spot. We get Shawn versus Taker at WrestleMania. You get Brett versus Owen after Owen turns on Brett and leaves the Hart Foundation. You have I don't know what the tag team scene was like there, but you probably have
New Age Outlaws had just gotten hot at that point.
And then you have Rock for the Intercontinental title on the lower card.
I have a crazy idea.
Go right ahead, man.
What about a scenario where Brett stays, but the Montreal Screwjob still happens?
That's 100% on the table.
Because there's a lot of people that aren't convinced that it wasn't all work anyway.
I could see that being a thing. Brett goes away for a couple months and then comes
back and gets to be the face, who gets to be the kick-ass. He already had kind of an attitude. Like, he never would have been Stone Cold. He never would have been that level.
Wins the Rumble as the 30th entry, like
right.
a surprise entry, wins the Rumble and gets the redemption at WrestleMania.
But it does create the Mr. McMahon character, though.
You need the Mr. McMahon character. Like, if we're losing Austin to history, we can't lose Mr. McMahon to history, too. I know how tied together they are, but you could have still had someone to go against the Mr. McMahon character.
I agree.
If you don't have that character, then you've lost, like you said, you've lost the reason why people were tuning in during a year that you're actually just building up a whole roster.
No, this is a fantastic what if. And again, you tie it with the Bret Hart stuff, and it's literally the same exact time this happens. That's definitely a great what if.
You want to drop the dynamite drop in, Donnie?
No, I'm good. Joe, what did you love this week?
Dynamite drop in. Hold on, I think Craig might drop in. Hold on.
No, I mean I'm just thinking of with his injury and I don't know if I'm on the same wavelength as you guys, but so the injury shortens his career, and what if the injury? I'm just thinking, what if the injury doesn't happen? How much longer does the Attitude Era keep going? Because he's the one character they couldn't tone down because
technically it didn't even start until after the injury. Technically, it didn't start till November of that year.
Yeah, but what he's saying
no, because the Attitude Era ended around 2003.
And it obviously took...
No, it ended in
01.
Okay, it ended in 2001, soon as Austin turned heel, which would have still happened.
When did he retired in what, 03, 04?
03.
He retired in 03, but the Attitude Era ended in 01.
It started shifting away from Rock and Austin at that point.
Soon as he turned heel and joined with
the band, went little into 03, 04.
Well, the other thing is you have to remember is when you get to 03, The Rock's filming movies, and Austin isn't an everyday
because of
compartment of the roster because he's been so dinged up. So they've started to transition to the Ruthless Aggression era.
Right.
If Austin doesn't get hurt, you may get another year before the end of the Attitude Era. Because
the only reason I don't think so is because I think he still would have turned heel in 01. And like I said, I think that's the real end of the Attitude Era.
I mean, Craig, that Mania in 03, they didn't even main event that Mania. That was Angle and Lesnar. 03.
The botch shooting star. The botch
star press.
So, but it's a great what if though because it changed the course of history. Honestly,
I'll say this: if it was
say it with your face toward the camera. I can't see you. Thank you.
If that WrestleMania 19 was WrestleMania 38, Austin and Rock closed the show.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely, without question.
And Rock would have come back. Rock would have come back from Austin's last match. I don't care if he's the biggest movie star in the world. I don't care if he needed to be at the red carpet for Fast and Furious 87 that night. He would have been there for Austin's last match.
But that was Vince's playing the long game. Angle and Lesnar's future.
Especially if they knew that
it was going to be his last match.
If they knew it was one last round, Rock ain't missing it, and it ain't not closing the show.
Exactly.
Right.
All
All right. So,
All right. I got it. This one's easy. This one's a really easy one. All right. My fellow New Japan fans, they did it. They did it, guys. And this can't be spoilers. It happened like a week ago. So you know, like 3 days ago. They put the IWGP heavyweight title, whatever the fuck they're calling it nowadays, with its like 4-champion 3-month lineage. They put it on Shingo. I can't pronounce his last name. Takagi?
Mm-hmm.
A go Power Rangers. Okay.
did it again.
So, anyway, they put the belt on Shingo. I, for one.
Hold on a second. Takagi, is he in any relation to the Takagi from Nakatomi Towers? 1987 in Los Angeles?
That's his uncle.
It's his uncle. Okay.
Yeah.
Never forget Nakatomi Towers, Christmas 87.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I'm gonna call him Intern Craig.
Fight me.
So we got lucky this time. They had the chance to put the belt back on Okada, which I think we all assumed was going to happen. By the way, Okada, he is the Sasha Banks of Dominion. Anyway.
I told you that joke.
I'm taking it anyway. So, well, go back to the text. I think I said it.
Oh, no, I said always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yes. I was like, I definitely made the Sasha Banks reference. But they had the chance to put it on Okada, which was the safe bet.
Always.
Mostly fans wanted them to put it on Shingo and finally give us something that we're really excited for. Which, granted, we were really excited when Will Ospreay won it, and then we know what happened. We were really excited when Kota Ibushi won it, and then we know what happened. So now we're really excited for Shingo winning it. If something happens to this man, this belt is fucking snake bit. Retire it, burn it, let Naito drag it around the entirety of Tokyo, and then get rid of it because it is snake bit. Shingo, I hope nothing happens to you. In the interim, as long as we still have Shingo as our IWGP Heavyweight United Champion of the Universe, New Japan fans, my fellow fans, I love that for us.
All right, MVPs.
Mike, I forgot who my MVP is.
Think about it.
I thought it was Shingo.
Yeah, I did say that. All right, hey, you go first.
Ernest, go first.
My MVP, we actually mentioned him a while on the podcast.
Is it Shingo?
Bret Hart. Huh? Me? It's Shingo.
It's Shingo.
I like his name. I like his name a lot. No, my MVP this week is actually I have two actually. Number one, I'm getting greedy today. Bret Hart.
Okay.
Any biography. The best one I've watched. Watch it. It's a great story. Learn a lot. To me, like I know he has like he's one of those guys that old man on my lawn kind of thing, but fucking I love he's honest, he's transparent and all that. It's great. Listen to. I said months ago he should have his own podcast. It's a Colin Rancho podcast of Bret Hart. Honestly, you hear stories for days. So that's number one. Number two, Andrade, AEW. Do you like the fact that Vicky was the one that introduced him?
I don't hate it. I get big mom kid vibes. Like I'm okay with it.
Excuse me.
Don't ever do that again. I will hit you with a sandal. Don't ever do that again.
How tall are you? Like 4'8"?
I will jump.
I will give him a step stool.
We got Air Jordans. You got Air Jordan step stools.
I have many pairs of Air Jordans. As a matter of
Bret Hart and that's true. Bret Hart and Andrade, my MVPs this week. Michael, what's your MVP?
Hold on. Oh, okay. Number one of my MVPs is the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Shingo Takagi. My second one was, Joe announced it, PWG's coming back August 1st. And last but certainly not least, the new NXT United Kingdom Women's Champion, completing the championship reign of Kaylee Ray of 600 plus days. The new champion, the final boss, Miko Satomura.
I saw that today on the internet.
Yeah. She's the best women's wrestler in the world.
Is she really? Is she really?
I believe that.
Fight me about it.
I don't know. I've never seen her before. I'll check it out.
I'm talking about you because obviously you haven't seen her. You ain't watched the New Japan show, so if you definitely don't know any Japanese wrestlers.
She better read Velvet.
Telling me that it's anyone not named Miko Satomura, fight me.
Good joke. Good joke.
This man just said with a straight face, "Is she better than Red Velvet?"
I'm gonna punch you in the throat.
Come closer. Come closer to the screen, motherfucker.
And you will.
What kind of video is
All right,
this?
so what's your MVP? Instead, other than Shingo, I know you got something else for us. Come on now, it'll be later.
No, it was Shingo. I texted Mike that earlier. I literally forgot what I texted him, and I can't look because I'm recording this on my phone. So I figured I would just ask him, why were you eavesdropping in on our conversation? That's not very MVP like.
This is okay. This is how you get beaten out of the trio by fucking being a snake.
Yeah.
If this was a wrestling promotion, you'd be like the Roderick Strong, and we would just jump you out of the group.
What are you talking about?
You're like the Sean Waltman, but
What are you talking about?
Bitch.
Oh,
I don't know either. I was just going with it.
Fucking.
You eavesdropped on the conversation when he was trying to remember who his MVP was.
Yeah.
And then you're being a sarcastic asshole. That gets you jumped out of most factions.
He wants to. Who turned heel in the group in NXT Undisputed Era?
Adam Cole did.
All right, he wants to Adam Cole you.
Wow,
Maybe.
don't say that ever again.
Yeah, that's kind of. And on that note.
He wants to have your baby.
Okay, whatever.
Worse.
You and his babies. Joe, stop. Next week, Hell in a Cell preview. Craig, intern Craig.
Hey guys, I don't have an MVP, but I got a question for you guys. With what seems like the impending sale of WWE to NBC.
Not impending. Slow down.
Oh, if it happens,
Ernest has to go to sleep.
how much
Go ahead.
until it is completely and utterly unwatchable? Because
2 months ago.
my thing, here's my
weeks
thing.
ago.
Great answer. Here's my thing. They went to Peacock, and Peacock is just wiping out history.
The cock.
Anything offensive, fine. But if you know that's what they're doing to your past, what's going to happen to the future of wrestling if they go to NBC? It's to me, it's just going to be like a G-rated thing, and it is going to be completely.
Well, it's not that bad because some of the things they add to Era are still there. I've been going through some of the stuff in 98, 99. It's still, a lot of stuff is still there. So they haven't gone through like a scalpel. Some of the obvious things, like some of the racial shit, maybe like the Roddy Piper blackface thing. That's right.
Yeah,
Understandable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
you know, but I just think if they go that route, it's just really going to completely kill it.
If they go fully G-rated, that might be like is it worth us keeping the streak alive just to keep a streak alive? Like if it's unwatchable, like
Look, if WWE gets sold to a bigger company, the bigger company is going to treat it the same way that AOL Time Warner treated WCW, which is as long as it's making them money, as long as it's something that they can be proud of showing off, as long as there is an audience in some capacity, however they measure it, it's going to still exist. If it gets to a point where it's not making any kind of money, it's not doing well, like, you know, Disney's going to keep releasing Marvel movies until Marvel movies don't make any more money.
right.
And then Marvel won't exist because they're useless at that point.
And right now, WWE's making money. A lot of money, in fact.
Yes. But my only thing is, and as far as the whole Time Warner thing, when did that take place?
2001.
Okay. Where you were still allowed to say whatever the fuck you wanted on TV and not worry about losing your fucking job and your future.
Yeah, but the thing is, Craig, though, for as much...
It is toned down so much.
Agreed.
Look at what politically correctness has done to wrestling, promos, the way they delivered matches, talked about shit. And I'm not saying that you need racial undertones or anything. But wrestling got way too politically correct, and it got horrible.
But to be fair, though, Craig,
It was
Attitude Era was not sustainable anyway. It was just a 2-3 year thing. Vince does not want to go back to that at all. And that's even before weighing in the Me Too era bullshit now. Vince does not want to go back to that, regardless. So
I'm not saying to go to to like stuff with like to challenge racial shit and all that. I'm just saying like the way they talk to each other in the ring, the way they promote with each other. It's totally different now because you can't say certain things.
Well, it's also it's not just that. It's totally different now because the way they do it now is different. Everything is written for them. Most of them are not good actors. They're just not. Like, that's the thing. Like, look, if you look back at promos in the late 90s and stuff, and again, I think it's rose-colored glasses. It wasn't actually as great as people remember it to be. Nope. But overall, you got to give credit that they were allowed to just kind of say whatever they wanted. But, like, literally, like, they weren't told what to say at all. Like, that's not even to say, like, they were allowed to use whatever language they wanted. Like, if all of a sudden you come out and you're like, hey, you guys can't say the word ass anymore, whatever. You could, if you still have the power, though, to say whatever you want to say and let it come from the heart, let it come from where you believe the character is coming from. Doesn't matter if you can say the word ass or not. You can get across the same passion. You can get across the same, the same message that you're going for. Whereas now, it's all just scripted. Like, honestly, I'll give AEW that credit. They don't script their wrestlers, and you can see a big difference in that regard.
And only that, but WWE also, too, marketing. My 8-year-old son, that's the audience right now.
It's gonna be forever. You're sooner gonna see a fucking like WWE theme park than you're gonna see WWE do anything that was near attitude.
Well, I mean, you have to remember, and this is from a
nice pan, Mike. I like that's cool.
They don't really care about you,
right,
you, or me, because as long as they get the 8-year-old to keep wanting to go to shows,
exactly.
They pay for tickets, or they're going to pay for the network, or going to pay for action figures, or video games, or insert random thing that they can put their fucking logo on. So at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, as long as the 8-year-olds are happy, they know they're going to get our money.
And the thing you didn't say, merchandise. You're going to buy a shirt for yourself. You don't need another shirt in 7 months.
Right.
Does.
Right.
Yep. Great point.
And here's the thing. There was a brief moment in time in the late 90s where you didn't need the 8-year-olds because you had the 18-year-olds. You had the 21-year-olds. You had people thinking that wrestling was cool well over the age that usually you expect for people thinking
you had them in
space cool.
Too.
It was an anomaly. It really was. There was a moment in time, and that moment passed. That moment died, and then you went back to your core audience. You went back to the people who made you the money in the 80s, the people who kept you in business. It might have been rough times, but they kept you in business in the 90s. You went back there. Those are the 8-year-olds. Because you're right, at the end of the day, like, you're always going to have new 8-year-olds to become wrestling fans.
Correct. We're 1988 again.
8 years old.
You and I are close to the same age. Essentially, we're back to 1988 again, 87, 88 again.
Yeah.
Mania.
Yeah.
Marketing towards my kid now. Instead of me.
I'd say
he's having an appointment, so.
I mean, I would say we're also towards like 92, 93, 94, where it was like.
I agree.
Sparky plug.
Yes.
Gotta go eat Cheez-Its.
But more talent now. All right, Cheez-Its time. Correct. Thank you.
Time.
Gentlemen.
Fellas, take care. Next week, Hell in a Cell preview.
Sure.
Bye.
Still not Hell in a Cell.